Hey everybody, Brian Tro coming to you from Mossy Creek with an episode of Fly Fishing Untangled. I'm here today to talk a little bit about floatants and desiccants. Okay, we get a ton of questions about these products, whether it's here in the shop or out on the water. What's the difference in them? How do you use them? When do you use one versus the other? And that's what this video is going to help out with today. Let's get started. All right, so first things first, this is a gel floatant, okay? And they're silicone-based gels. There's a lot of different ones on the market to choose from, but a lot of them are pretty similar, okay? The key for this stuff to work properly and to keep your dry fly floating all day is you want to put this on dry. So it's fresh out of the box before it gets soaked, okay? That's how you want to start off with this. So you can see a lot of times I'll come in and just squirt a little bit on my finger. That way I can kind of control how much there is, all right? And you want to use it pretty liberally all over this fly, okay? And make sure it's working into all the dubbing, the tailing fibers, the wings, everything. And then after you apply it, before you fish it, you want to give it some good false casts, okay? And that'll really keep this thing floating. In fact, if you do it that way, this fly will float for hours and hours, I promise you. All right, so here's what happens out here on the water. If you're having a killer day brook trout fishing and you're catching 30, 40, 50 fish and your dry fly's been held underwater a lot and the trout's been chewing on it, eventually water can get forced into those fibers, all right? The silicone gel's job is to keep water out, but after a while it can finally get waterlogged. More often than not, what ends up happening, and this is why people don't think the floatants last that long, is you end up squeezing the fly, okay? You go to get your fly out of the fish's mouth, and instead of using your forceps to just grab the hook, you end up squeezing that big fly, and it forces water into all those natural materials, and then it becomes waterlogged, okay? So try your best to use forceps and to not squeeze that fly, all right? But once your fly is totally soaked, okay, that's when you can go to your powder shake or your desiccant. There's all different types of these. There's beads, there's powders, there's brushes. Essentially what you're gonna do, you're gonna take your waterlogged dry fly, drop it in, and really shake it, okay? Now here's the main difference between silicone gels, okay, your gel floatant, and these desiccants. The floatant is designed to keep water out, okay, while you're fishing it. The powder's job is to force water that's already in out of the fly. And it's okay if it comes out white like that. Same thing as before. You're going to give it a bunch of false casts, and then it's going to start floating well again. Only problem with this stuff is it wears off. It doesn't last as long. So once you start using this, you're probably going to be powdering it just about every time you catch a fish, okay? So the floatants will last much longer. Something else that you can do if you don't want to use this on every single cast is if you have the same exact dry fly and you're loving this fly and you're doing well, take that soaked fly, cut it off, put it back in your vest, silicone gel, the new one, and fish that one for hours, okay? That way you're not repeating this process all day long, okay? So that's the main difference between silicone gel and your desiccant.